Only on Fox, as more and more refugees from northern Africa and the Middle East make their way to the U.S., some in South Carolina worry members of ISIS may be among them. One upstate congressman is fighting the so-called refugee resettlement program, and so are some local governments. But an upstate branch of a national humanitarian group says it's time to set aside fear and show compassion to refugees who want to come to the upstate.
Fox Carolina's Andrew Reeser live in the newsroom with more on this controversial issue.
That's right, Cody. Pickens County Council recently said no to allowing Syrian refugees to come to the area. There are some terrorist infiltration concerns, but there are others who want the upstate to be a little bit more welcoming when it comes to Syrian refugees trying to escape the conflict. As the civil war in Syria reaches historic levels, refugees hoping countries like the U.S. will welcome them.
We do as Christians feel like it's a biblical call to compassion.
Reverend Jason Lee with the World Relief Organization in Spartanburg works to give migrants a better life. Refugees are living in Spartanburg County now, but he says so far no Syrians are there.
I will tell you that the folks in South Carolina are very, very concerned about our inability to vet properly the refugees that are coming.
Upstate Congressman Jeff Duncan opposes the so-called refugee resettlement program, saying it's impossible for the U.S. to know exactly who's coming in.
They still left a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Greenville County Councilman Bill shares that view.
We don't have a clue, what kind of gangsters they are, whether they're good people, bad people, or what.
But Lee says after seeing the resettlement process firsthand, those fears are unfounded.
And there's no such thing that as an unvetted refugee that comes to the U.S. Over 3 million refugees have come through the program, and none of those have ever been arrested, convicted, and sentenced of being committing terrorist acts on U.S. soil.
Terrorism fears are driving the conversation. Congressman Duncan says ISIS has threatened to infiltrate groups of Syrian refugees, and that's why he says they can't come to the upstate.
This is a long-term national security issue for the country.
Mr. Chairman.
Last week, Congressman Duncan grilled FBI Director James Comey, asking if the government can actually stop terrorist infiltration.
The good news is we're much better at doing it than we were 8 years ago. The bad news is there's no risk-free process.
Now, we did reach out to Pickens County Council members who we're told refused to support the Syrian refugees coming to that area. They did not return our calls. Councilman Dill did tell us, though, that Greenville County Council is going to be taking up this issue in their meeting sometime next week. Live in the newsroom, Andrew Reeser.